Nice to see you again. It's Christmas since we last did it. This is Eclipse Baits. We showed you the products in the factory. We're now going to show you them in use, or some of our consultants use them. And we're just going to show you how we use a few of the products and how they get on in their fishing.
Well, welcome to Bush Farm Fishery in Upminster in Essex. Newly opened. We've got the Eclipse guys down here this weekend doing a bit of filming, having some fun, hopefully catching a few fish for the cameras. Right, this is our fishery, just over 4 acres, run as a premium day ticket, £30 for your membership, and then we do 12, 36 or 48-hour tickets. The fishery's existed for over 30 years, run on a club basis, now changed. We opened in April, highly anticipated with a good restocking of VS fisheries, pretty scaly fish, and our growth rates have been excellent. Some of the fish have already put on 4 to 5 pounds, so we offer something different. The whole complex is gated and fenced, so you're guaranteed security. Here we are in the well-stocked tackle shop at Bush Farm, stocking everything really, from drinks, chocolate, full range of corder, mainline, fox, ESP, literally everything you'll need for a good day's fishing at Bush Farm. It's open 7 days a week, 7 AM till 7 PM. This is where you come and get your ticket at the start of your session, but you're welcome to pop in any time. We have adequate parking, gates are always open, pop in for a cup of tea. You'll find us on Facebook, Bush Farm Fishery. We've got all the contact numbers, videos of the stocking, photos of the fish caught so far. Let's hope the guys from Eclipse have a few fish this weekend.
One of 2 fish caught last night using the tuna krill, fluoros, angry little fish. Hello, my name is Dean Spratt. A bit about my fishing. Fished since I was knee height to a grasshopper. Started match fishing. Slowly went away of carp fishing, which is now my passion. All my fishing takes place in the Lee Valley, mainly chasing the harder carp to catch and the bigger fish, quality rather than quantity. So yeah, so I joined Eclipse Baits. I've been with them for about 5 years now. As soon as I went with them, catch rates just went through the roof really. Started on the adrenaline, which was a great bait. I'd done really well on it. Went over to the virus and never looked back. Took that to the matches, took that abroad. Just seemed like everywhere I took it, it put fish on the bank. I'm now gone on to the tuna krill. It come out this year, and I was a bit sort of. I've always liked the krill sort of baits, and thought I'd give it a go. And I'm still using it now, but I'll probably go back to virus because I do love that bait. So on this session, I've brought with me the tuna krill, which is what has been chopped up in there into a sloppy mix. Basically, I've got two rods on a spot. The general idea is it's only 4 foot deep out there. I want to cloud the water up and try and, the fish ain't feeding, it's fishing really hard. I'm just trying to make something happen in terms of clouding the water up and just getting them sort of into a bit of a frenzy. But in there's 10 meals, there's half boilies, there's corn, there's the stick mix, the matching stick mix by Eclipse Baits. That's just really watered down, and that's just given off a really nice cloud. And that's literally fish 40 yards out, 2 rods, half a rod length apart. Yeah, so on this session, on one of them spots I was talking about, naked chod really, everyone knows what it is, but it's very effective. It's very silty out there, so whilst leading around I was definitely bringing in bits of leaf and chod, and it wasn't the cleanest of bottom. So with this I just know it's fishing. I have had 2 bites on it, one of them got away, but yeah, it's a really light lead, size 6 choddy, and that's a virus fluoro. So nice and simple, but done me 2 bites, so hopefully more tonight.
Well, I just had that catfish, £29.8 or whatever it was, and I've got my first carp literally half an hour later. It's only £16.8, great scrap under the rod tip, went off like a rocket, and he loves the Eclipse tuna and krill wafters. Well, hi, I'm Paul, and I've been fishing for 36 years now, ever since I got my $4.99 Woolworths rod. And we used to go down the River Darren and catch a few minnows and sticklebacks. Then my fascination with carp arrived. We used to fish places like Dartford, Horton Kirby and Paddlesworth. And I became absolutely obsessed with carp fishing. The major bit of carp fishing for me is having confidence, and having confidence in your bait. If you've got confidence in your bait, it's one less element for you to worry about. All you've got to worry about then is obviously placing that bait in the correct position on the correct rig. Eclipse Baits do various boilies in their ranges. These are the tuna and krill, and this is what I'm currently using at the moment. To complement these boilies, you get your wafters and pop-ups. And these also come with little booster attraction dips that you can just trickle over your baits just to give them that extra little bit of attraction. Talking of attraction, we've also got the highly visible pop-ups in pinks and whites there. And also the krill hydra slate. Now you can add this to your stick mix, your spod mix, or you can glug your boilies in it, and that gives you that extra attraction around your hook bait. Also, we've got these high visibility baits. These are pop-ups, like Tutti Frutti, Squid and Tutti. Another nice little edge are these little acorn toppers. On lakes now, you're beginning to find that plastic is beginning to get banned. So obviously these are high attracts, they're various colours. You've got your yellows and your washed out pinks. And you can use these to top your hook baits, and also why not fish them on their own as pop-ups. So I've already used these baits to good effect on this trip. As I said, confidence is everything. This is a lake I've never fished before. I've turned up and I've used the Eclipse tuna and krill, and I've managed to catch a £29 8-ounce catfish on a bottom bait, topped one of the little acorn toppers. Also had a £16 8-ounce mirror carp, which come to one of the tuna and krill wafters. Again, I used a little bit of the soak on the boilie, just to give that extra little bit of attraction, and that's what's done the business for me.
My name is Andy Neal, been carp fishing since about 81. Early years was all making my own bait, buying ingredients from various sources, rolling them in the garage on a hand roller, but slowly moved to bait companies, never really had any loyalty to anybody at all, and then had a pretty poor season around 2010. I could see what Dave was doing on my local lake he was a member of as well, and got on the virus, never looked back really. I've got a life outside for carp fishing, and I love my carp fishing big time, but I've got other interests as well, so doing a couple of overnighters a week kind of fulfills my need for carp fishing and also allows me to have a life outside of it as well. The key thing is by going 2 nights a week and getting some bait in, you are getting bait in the lake every time you go, but by doing overnighters, the other thing to realise is that you're only there for about 12 hours, so there's no point in putting 30 kilos out when you arrive, because you're only there, you'll be packing up about 7:30 in the morning. So it's a knack of getting enough to get the fish interested, but not putting so much out that your chances of taking it go down quite dramatically. So I'm probably more of a kind of 100 baits around each rod, 200 baits around each rod sort of person, on an overnighter twice a week. If I've got more time, I'll put more out, but that's kind of where you are. Yeah, doing 2 short sessions, and I think the important thing is getting down that twice a week, no matter what the weather is, whatever the conditions, keep going down there, because even if you blank, you'll see something to lead you to the next trip. So if I'm down Monday night and I blank in a certain swim, but I've seen 3 or 4 fish head and shoulder somewhere else, then I think, right, Friday I'll try and get back in there on the next trip. So even a blank is never a wasted trip. You'll always learn something for next time to go back with.
Hi, I'm Lee and I've been carp angling for 16 years. My carping journey started when I was a boy. I used to go carp fishing, or generally fishing, with my dad. He was the one who taught me the ropes, got me into it, gave me that bug. And I used to go sea fishing with my dad until I was old enough that I could strap the rods to my bike. And then I would take on these adventures on my own, head into local park lakes, head into little canals, anywhere that I could travel to safely on my own. Throw your sandwiches in a bag of crisps in your rucksack and you was gone for the day. That was it, not to return until dusk, where you'd explain what you'd caught to your dad and the adventures that you'd had along the way. But for me, particles are a big part of today's fishing, and they're a big part of my fishing. So I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what I use and why. So today with me, I've got the spod mix. This contains crushed oats, crushed maize, crushed hemp, some other wheat grains in there, a little tiny bit of dari and a little bit of aniseed. This is purely to please the anglers with their choice because it smells nice and it adds a little bit of flavour to it. It also has a food stimulant added in there in the soaking stage. Again, it's completely safe to use. The guys at the factory have made this so that you can just literally fish this straight out of the bag into your spod mix. To complement it, everybody's favourite is the hemp. Everybody I know uses hemp in some point in their carping life. Somewhere out there you've been using hemp. Generally this is a 3-to-1 ratio that I would mix these, 3 of these to 1 of these, depending on the situation. Added to that, I sometimes add a little bit of ground bait. This is the hot and spicy ground bait again that I'm using today. All prepared by the guys at Eclipse, ready to use straight out of the bag. You can make stick mixes and all sorts out of this, to be fair. And added to my spod mix, I always add my faithful boilies. This is purely because your hook bait's going to be in there, so why not fish a few freebies in your spod mix, make it accurate fishing. Now to make it sloppy, we add something called the gravy. This is to create that sort of gloopy, soupy effect so that you get lots of attractants either soaking into your boilies, just making your ground bait that little bit more stodgy so that when you get it out there you're giving yourself as much of a chance to get that attraction to the fish as possible. So now let's make up one of my mixes. Right, so making my mix, I would take my bag of spod mix, cut that open, make sure I don't lose my scissors, and then I would tip that, all those contents, into my bait bucket, like so. I would then add my hemp, like so. Cut that bag open, tip that all in there, like so. And then I give it, I like to get an old stick off the bank. I left my bait spoon at home, so acts quite nicely, to be fair. And give that a good stirring in, make sure it's all mixed up nicely. Like so. Today I'm going to add a little bit of ground bait mix because I want to make it a little bit stodgy. Hold some of the oils that I'm going to put, or say hold the gravy in there, keep a bit of the attractant. So I'd put a little bit of the ground bait in, not too much because it will go really, really dry. And you can always dampen it down if you really want to. So give that a good stir, get it right to the bottom. Make sure it's all mixed in. My gravy. Loads of this stuff, you can never ever put too much. That all gets tipped in there. This is where I usually spill it all over myself, make a mess. But that's carp fishing. If you're not messy and not enjoying yourself and everything, again that all goes, see how stodgy that's looking? Lovely. Sits in the spod nicely, doesn't leak out, or your spon, whichever you choose. Maximum impact for your flavour. And again, going in my little box of tricks, just to complement your spod mix, as I say, I add boilies to it because I generally fish hook baits. Get out a crusher, handful of boilies just in your crusher, a little bit of a chop, Add some chops in there, give that a nice stirring in. It's all different sizes, different flavours. Something that may well confuse the carp in figuring out which is your hook bait. You could quite happily fish grains of maize or sweet corn in this. You don't have to fish boilies. It's whatever you choose, whatever your preferred style is. So that's my spod mix. I would generally make all that up either before I go or on the bank when I get there, and feed that in as and when I need to, depending on the fishing situation.
Craig Stone's been fishing seriously for carp for probably about 16, 17 years, but I've always fished since I was a young lad, 15, 14. Always enjoyed it, but never really the challenge of the big carp. You know, it's only the last 17 years or so that I've really got onto chasing large fish. For the last 5 years I've been fishing a syndicate in Essex and really been targeting the bigger fish. Mainly doing a campaign style of fishing with pre-baiting. Never done much of that before, but it's really come to good effect, especially with using the virus. For the last 2 years, since April 2014, it's really cracked on, and baiting up heavily after fishing and returning within a few days to rebait or fish has really been a big success, and the virus has really helped with that. On most campaigns I was taking a 5 kilo bag of virus with me for the night, putting a kilo out over each rod and then putting the rest in after when I left the next day. But in conjunction with the virus I was using a multi-rig with generally a white virus pop-up, glugged up with the booster, which is fantastic, completely opposite to what the bait was on the bottom, but the fish were having it, and I think they were preoccupied on that certain bait, to be fair. It was every week it was happening, and to be honest I was shocked myself that it continued for so long. After Christmas I changed my campaign to short sessions fishing and margins, a lot of day sessions, as the weed bed had died all back and the fish were under the trees and in short, and the same sort of method with heavy baiting and fishing white pop-ups over the top with the boosted virus dip the results just kept coming. It was fantastic.
This is the first one of a brace. It's gone absolutely crazy in my swim, and I've got this lovely zip linear, £16, 10 ounces on the Eclipse tuna and krill wafter, and I've got another one in the sling down there. Haven't weighed that one yet, but it's all gone crazy on the final night of our trip to Bush Farm. So this is the second of the brace, £13.4, half ling, another pretty little fish. This one took tuna and krill bottom bait with icon topper.
Right, so I'm Kyle. I work at Eclipse Baits, and I got into carp fishing from when I was younger. My dad took me float fishing, and then from then it progressed onto feeder fishing, then onto carp fishing, and then I caught my first carp, and that was it, I was hooked. So today we're over at Bush Farm, just on a social. Normally I'm on my own, fishing in a hidden little bay somewhere, putting lots of bait out on a big pit. I've just joined this year. I've been using the virus, been putting quite a bit in, trying to get the fish onto it, because not many people have used it. So I'm just getting it going in there, and the virus 15 mils are just doing the business at the minute. So the virus was designed for my fishing. It's my blend of flavours. And I'd done so well on it on the first year in the testing stage that we decided that it was going to have to be a bait to come out. I think I'd done 50 nights and ended up with 180 something fish. Okay, so when I go fishing, I will take any of the Eclipse range, so it be hot adrenaline, cream ball, the virus, the adrenaline, any of them, but my personal choice, if the freezers are fully stocked, is definitely virus, 100%.
No, I've been fishing, carp fishing since I was 10. Started off sort of like just on my local lake, local day ticket lake. Just sort of quiver tipping, that sort of stuff to start with. Then we moved on to carp fishing. I've been fishing sort of on and off since then. Obviously I've got a young family, so my time's limited now. Fishing's mainly sort of day sessions. If I'm lucky, I might get a quick overnight or maybe even a couple of nights, but that is rare. The bait I've been using for all my fishing, sort of last 5-6 years, sort of, I don't know, probably when this was first created, so before it was even released, I would have been using this bait, obviously Dad's company. Really, like I use this for all my types of fishing, 18 mil straight out of the bag. I've got I don't use anything else. I'm not going to lie, I don't use anything else. I might occasionally use a virus pop-up or a virus wafter, but I'm using this for 99.9% of my fishing. Fish all different types of venues, sort of some of like the more well-known day ticket venues, runs, waters, syndicate lakes. I've used this, like I say, for sort of six years now. I've got utmost confidence in this bait.
My name's Ian Simmons. I've been fishing since I was about 5 or 6. I'm 39 now. I've been carp fishing at least 25 years. It all stems from a nicked copy of a Carp Fever, which I read non-stop, and yeah, it just inspired me to carp fishing. So we're at a bush farm in Upminster on the Eclipse Baits social. Not been a great weekend for me. I got pegged in this swim, very, very shallow. A lot of it fishing across to far margins and things. There's been fish up here, and I lost one yesterday, unfortunately, just to a hook ball. But it's very, very dirty bottom. You've really got to think a bit outside the box to get a presentation. I've ended up putting hook baits off of baited areas so that they're not sort of wafting all the silt and crud over it. But yeah, finally paid off this afternoon, and like I say, I lost it, unfortunately. Well, bait, as we all know, it's the most important thing other than location, obviously, because they've got to want to pick a bait up. They've got to want to eat it in the first place. So bait's massively important in my own fishing, whether it be pre-baiting or actually just fishing day to day. You need something that's long term, but also full of attraction and goodness. You know, my own fishing is. At the moment, I'm on a club water out Chelmsford Way. Well, there's a series of waters, but the one I'm on's pretty tricky water. You know, you've had a sort of handful of fish a year. You've done all right out there. A lot of it's very similar sort of parallels to fishing here, really, because it's a lot of really bad bottom, really bad silt where the river flooded in there a few years back and washed a load of rubbish in, so the bottom still hasn't settled properly. So a lot of it's edge fishing. But that brings its own set of problems because you're fishing for some very, very big fish that in very shallow water, really. And that's the only presentable area because that's where it's hardest. So yeah, you've got your own set of problems there. You can get them feeding in the edge, but getting them to take a bait the hook bait is a totally different matter because they're not sort of feeding like they normally would at tilting. You know, they're feeding very, very level. So you need to think about your baiting approach and also the way the rig's going to behave once it's picked up, because they don't straighten out the hook length for a lot of the time. So you need something a little bit clever, which I'll show you in a minute.
This is the rig that I mentioned earlier, and like I say, a lot of the fishing this year for me has been in close, pretty shallow water to be honest, where they don't get a chance to upend and feed as they normally would in open water. So I had to come up with something that would work for a couple of principles. I still want the hook to be able to turn if it's dragged across the bottom lip. So you know, I've incorporated a liner, extended bit shrink tube. But I wanted the hook to be able to be in a prone position straight away the moment it's sucked up, and the hook bait choice is really crucial for that. Dave's or Eclipse's wafters are perfect for that. They're exactly the right buoyancy, especially with you know, a fairly big hook like I'm using. The hook will sit down flat and the wafter will just sit up ever so slightly proud, but it doesn't look unnatural. So, but what happens as soon as that's sucked up, the hook immediately can drop. As you can see, it can drop. There's a little counterbalance there, counterweight there, that helps just orientate the hook. So even before it's dragged across the bottom lip, as in a lot of the way the normal rigs work, it's already in prone position. Yeah, I've been with Eclipse Baits since its inception. It's great quality bait, you know, fantastic. I've caught a lot of good fish on it over the years, and I've sort of seen it all evolve to where it is today, you know, so I'm proud to be part of it.